Captain Lark rode forward. Him and his horse passed under the forest branches as he continued on his journey. Behind him rose smoke from the scorched jubico tree. Yet he didn't know that very action had earned him the scorn of another. The smoldering embers had harmed the trees around it. Now he was stalked. Like a predator, the Leshy followed him. The man whistled and irritated the forest spirit. It slipped between the trees as quiet as a breeze. Once ahead, it cast its spell. Roots sprang up from the ground, like spears they pierced the horse. Captain Lark sprang away to safety with only a hair's breadth. Looking around, he watched as a figure stepped from the forest. It spoke a single word: human. Welcome back to Mythical Phylogeny Adventures. I'm your guide, Jason. Today we find ourselves before the forest guardian known as the Leshy. Let's take a look at this strange creature and see what has made him such a fearsome foe. The Leshy comes from Slavic legend. It has many names depending on which language you speak. The one I bet most of you are familiar with is the name used in the Witcher series, the Leshy. He is described as a forest spirit, or god, a being which protects the forest and the animals within. His appearance varies wildly. Some claim that he is the height of a man, others a giant. Some say his skin is like bark, his beard and hair are made of vines, and his blood runs blue. But some say that he is covered with a beard and hair so thick that it looks like fur. His head is described as being conical, with a missing right ear. He doesn't wear a hat or a belt. Others say that he is a living tree that has antlers. All this is fairly simple to explain. Leshy is a shapeshifter. He can take many forms, even turn invisible. He can be as tall as a tree or shrink down to the size of a blade of grass in a meadow. Though his true potential comes from his powers. He can command the beasts of the wild. Most common, he's seen with wolves and bears around him. Often, he'll have a pair of crows near his shoulder. He cares for them, but he can also care for livestock. Shepherds have been known to forage packs with Leshy, where he will protect their herds and let them forage within his forests. Though there are prices that must be paid by the shepherd. The Leshy has been known to kidnap children and lure travelers astray. There is much debate as to his motive. Leshy protects the forest and will punish those who damage the trees or hurts the animals. Yet, Leshy is also a god of hunting, and allows hunting and logging with his permission. I did do a video months ago on what it would take to properly maintain a magical forest. I'll try to put it up in the corner if you want to check it out. But, short version here. To prevent the spreading of diseases and fires, sometimes you need to remove a portion of the trees to save the forest. The same is needed with animals. There is a well-documented ratio needed to maintain a healthy ecosystem. Roughly 10 prey animals to every predator. You also need to prevent invasive species from upsetting the balance. Let's look at the gray wolves that were reintroduced into the Yellowstone area. Wolves had lived there before, but had been hunted out of the area. The deer and elk that grew up afterwards never learned how to deal with wolves. How and where to run, how to fight back. Those were skills that they didn't need and never learned. That means when wolves were reintroduced, they devastated the deer population. They were overhunted by the wolves, and it's taken some time before the deer population relearned to handle the new predator. Interestingly, once the deer adapted, the population was able to stabilize at a higher number, since the wolves were mostly picking off the old and sick to eat, leaving more food and resources for the younger breeding individuals. Now, most of the time, this doesn't happen. The animals can't adapt. A great example of this comes from Australia and the introduction of rabbits to the continent. They lack any natural predators and lets them reproduce at an alarming rate. The real problem comes in that they eat so much foliage of the native plants that they can leave the topsoil exposed to erode away. Oftentimes, new species bring with them parasites and diseases, which the native animals can't resist. Now, the overeating of vegetation isn't limited to invasive species. I'm sure you've heard of lemmings, little rodents which are prone to consuming all the plant matter in the air before running away like a flood. Yes, things like this is what the Leshy needs to watch. He has 100 species to contend with, and it's difficult to balance them all. Thus, why we need such an individual, a forester, a game warden. Using the shepherd's flocks, he can help maintain the balance while also protecting them from other predators. There is more to Leshy though. Remember when I mentioned he was known to kidnap children? These are often the cursed and unwanted individuals. He cares for them and raises them with his own children, ones born from his wife. Most stories say that she is human, or in others a spirit of the swamp, regardless of which, she is well treated by her husband. The tales are different with the children. If they leave him and return to human society, they often struggle to adapt back to civilization. They don't speak a human language and will need time to adapt. There is an explanation for this. The Leshy can appear human, but has trouble with clothing. He often puts his shoes on backwards, and his clothes are inside out. Sometimes his eyes are said to glow. When Leshy leads travelers astray, they usually aren't hurt, just lost in the woods. Leshy will speak to them, give them false directions. What is going on here? Is it that the Leshy may be trying to keep the travelers from something happening in the forest? Like his children, or keep them away from danger? Yet at times he has been known to trick people into a cave, where he will tickle them. It is meant as harmless fun, but he has been known to go too far and tickle people to death. The Leshy is unique. He can be helpful or a burden. Rarely is he actively hostile. He is neutral, not good or evil. If his forest is treated with respect, he'll aid you, but when damaging his land, he'll be a burden. Leshy is what I would call a neutral entity. He'll do what he seems best or is desired, without any inclination as to what it means to others. A good example of how the forests treat those who live nearby. All this does tell us a few things. Leshy seems to be an animal of some sort. A plant-like animal. Maybe a botiform would be a right name for them. I think so. As a plant, it would be unlikely to be able to breed with a human woman. Not without extensive magical influences, which is hard to prove due to the shape-shifting powers. Maybe if I could get an interview, I could find out. Leshy is known for several powerful spells I have mentioned before. So let's start with his stealth magic. An invisible foe is dangerous to fight. It leaves you open to surprise attacks. To uncover him, there are a few options. 1. A good magic dispelling spell should expose him, but you'll need to find him. Watch for tracks in the dirt, leaves which have been moved, a change in the noises of the animals make. You could coat the ground with flour or snow to expose the tracks easier. Try and find the sources, or you could spam the spell, but that could deprive you of other spells. Yet there is a way to ward off Leshy, one that it shares with the Tick-Belong. You turn your clothes around, inside out, and flip your shoes around. He may think that you're one of his children which has long since left. If not, you'll need to avoid his tricks. If he starts whispering to you or mimicking another's voice, don't follow it. Have a system of clues and passwords that your party can use to detect a faked voice. If all else fails, Leshy may attack. First up are his animal companions. The crows aren't too dangerous. They could peck at your eyes, but that's about it. But the wolves and bears will pose a threat to you, adventurer. Surely you have battled such creatures and can handle them, though. But that is where the Leshy comes in. The one thing that is most dangerous is his command of plants. He's been known to cause roots to spring from the ground to grab and disable you. Branches can come swinging down. So long as you're in the forest, you can be attacked from any and all angles. You'll want a party here, people who can help watch attacks from all directions. Use axes to cut the branches and roots away. Chainmail will struggle to protect you from being impaled, but gambeson and plate will reduce the risk of injury. Any armor will struggle to prevent being grabbed. If you are, you'll need your party to free you. As for magic in battle, you can use fire to burn back the roots and branches. You run the risk of it spreading through the rest of the forest. That will definitely anger the Leshy. Do it at your own risk. You could also use some ice or cold spells to slow the plant's growth. Yet, through all this, we still haven't landed a blow on Leshy himself. If through all of that, you are able to close the distance, you'll need power. His skin is tough, and will require force to pierce. An axe may be your best bet. A sword or spear may work as well. Again, fire and coal magic will be best. Arrows may struggle to get through his tough hide. Leshy is strong. He'll be able to knock you around with his arms. He could change sizes in an instant. Sneak in close, get between your party before springing up to his full size. They'll scatter your party. While he is now surrounded, you are going to be in range of his attacks. To prevent this, you could turn the ground to mud or ice and leave him exposed. Just be sure of your footing. Leshy is clever and strong. He has a great variety of spells controlling the flora and fauna of his forests. That gives him the support at close range, while he engages you at long range using his spells to restrict you in battle, but also putting you in peril from any direction. He has multiple means of stealth from invisibility to size changes. The physical strength to dominate you in close quarters, yet he is not aggressive unless provoked. Basically, you are in battle against an expert druid that has also developed the physical strength of a barbarian. That is why I'm giving the Leshy a 6 of 10 for difficulty. Thankfully, he is not an aggressive figure most of the time, and that is why his rating isn't higher. As long as you aren't damaging his forest, he'll usually let you pass. If you do fight, the best option is to escape from the forest, rather than pick a fight. The Leshy is best left alive. He preserves the forest. You can easily become an ally of Leshy though. You may strike a deal with him where he'll protect your crops and herd, though there are claims that making such a deal will result in you gaining powers. These range from speaking with infants to seeing spirits. This seems to vary from contract to contract with Leshy. He has been known to free people of curses under the right conditions, a healer of broken bones and flesh. He can lead lost people from the woods. Yes, he can do much to help so long as you respect his domain and his authority. If you wish to hunt in his forest or cut down a tree, first make offerings and prayers to Leshy. He may even aid you in your quest. Be careful with dealing with Leshy though. While not evil or against you, he isn't truly an ally. He'll do what he wants. Also, don't whistle. He doesn't like that. Captain Locke let out a surge of flames as roots sprang from the ground like spears, aimed at his heart. They cracked as they took flames. Smoke rose up into the branches above. As they dropped down, Captain Locke was too slow. He took a blow across his shoulder. He fell on the ground. Stepping forward was a figure as tall as a tree. Its antlers reached out from its brow like branches. Despite their size, he moved easily amongst the trees. Captain Locke locked eyes on the figure. Lightning sprang from his hands, and it shrank. The towering figure shrank down to half the sailor's size. It rushed forward as the captain pushed himself up. Before the man could react, Leshy grew in size in an instant. He found himself caught in the forest guardian's hand, lifted high into the air. His boots swung back and forth helplessly. The grip was monstrous, and Captain Locke couldn't breathe, yet he didn't need to breathe to weave his spells. Flames raced forward into the vine-covered face. It roared in pain and dropped the man. Captain Locke didn't try and fight as the Leshy regained its composure. Captain Locke ran, and he didn't look back. Falling down a hill, he rolled into a hidden cavern. Stepping up to the rim, the Leshy looked down into the pit. The man was as good as dead after that. Leshy walked away and returned to his duty to tending the forest, where he extinguished the flames and smoothed the dirt. The Leshy has the potential to be a dangerous foe, yet he is one interested in only protecting his forest. So long as you are careful to treat the forest with respect and be smart in handling it, you can escape this foe safely. Thank you for watching, adventurers. Please return next week, where we should meet the monstrous serpent the Druid slaying. Until then, I'll see you on the roads.